The world's ultra-wealthy are not just masters of business or innovation, they are masters of money itself. They understand that currency is not just paper or numbers on a screen. It is a living system, constantly moving, shifting, and creating hidden opportunities that most people never see. While the average person only thinks about exchange rates when planning a vacation abroad or making an online purchase, the ultra-rich see them as one of the most powerful levers of wealth creation in existence. Imagine this. Every time currencies rise or fall, value is not destroyed. It is transferred. Someone wins, and someone loses. The difference is that billionaires and global investors are positioned on the winning side of those shifts, using exchange rates not as obstacles but as tools. They treat fluctuations in the dollar, the euro, the yen, or emerging market currencies not as random chaos but as predictable tides they can ride to amplify their fortunes. And the most fascinating part is this. You don't have to be a billionaire to learn how these tides move. You just need to see what they see, think how they think, and apply it step by step. Now let's open a door into their world. Think about companies like Apple, Tesla, or Amazon. These giants don't just sell products, they operate globally. And that means every dollar they earn abroad is affected by the value of local currencies. When the dollar strengthens, profits earned overseas shrink in value. When it weakens, those profits expand. Ultra-rich investors and corporate leaders don't leave this to chance. They use strategies called currency hedging to protect their wealth or even to profit from the swings. Imagine a hedge fund manager predicting that the euro will weaken against the dollar. He positions his fund in a way that when that fall happens, his portfolio gains millions, even billions, while most people don't even notice what just occurred. It feels almost like being able to control the wind in your sails while everyone else is stuck drifting aimlessly at sea. This awareness turns foreign exchange from a background noise into a powerful engine of wealth. And here is the emotional punch. Once you realize that these invisible hands of currency are constantly shaping the value of your own money, you'll never look at your paycheck, your savings, or your investments the same way again. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The ultra-rich don't just react to currency movements, they anticipate them. They study central bank decisions, geopolitical tensions, trade agreements, and even the psychology of markets. When the Federal Reserve hints at raising interest rates, they don't wait for the news headlines. They act before the crowd, moving billions of dollars into positions that will benefit. When political instability shakes a nation, they know which currencies will fall and which will surge, and they move swiftly. This is why wealth feels almost magnetic around the ultra-rich. They're not lucky, they're prepared. They know that every crisis, every shockwave in global finance is not only a threat but also a door opening to unimaginable gains. And right now, I want you to imagine being in that mindset, not fearing the chaos of markets, but standing ready, almost excited, because you know how to turn volatility into victory. That shift in perception is what separates everyday investors from the ones who quietly, steadily, become unstoppable. And if you're finding this eye-opening so far, imagine what's ahead when we go deeper into the exact mechanisms the ultra-rich use. This is the kind of knowledge that rewires the way you think about money forever. By the way, if you haven't already, take a quick moment to hit the subscribe button to join Investor School, because each lesson is designed to give you not just information, but the exact mindset and strategies that fuel the success of those who play at the highest level. Now, let's pull the curtain back further. Consider this. When Warren Buffett invests in companies like Coca-Cola or American Express, he isn't just betting on American consumers, he's betting on global flows of money. He knows that the brand Coca-Cola sells as much in Brazil, China, and India as it does in the United States, and those profits are translated back into dollars. That translation process, the conversion of one currency into another, is where subtle forces can either destroy or multiply wealth. The ultra-rich harness these forces deliberately. They choose when and how to hold money in different currencies, often parking wealth in safe havens like the Swiss franc when the world feels unstable, and shifting into higher-yielding currencies when growth is on the horizon. For them, every currency is like a different key on a piano, and they don't just play one, they compose symphonies of wealth across the global financial stage. We started by teasing the hidden currents that move money across borders. Now let's finish by transforming that curiosity into a permanent shift in how you see opportunity. If the first part made you feel like you were peeking through a keyhole at a room full of levers, this section opens the door. The single most important idea to carry with you is this: currency is not a passive backdrop. It is an active ingredient in every global balance sheet, and it can be managed, shaped, and leveraged. That doesn't mean gambling on headlines or chasing hot tips. It means learning a mindset and a set of repeatable practices that create a symmetry, small inputs that generate outsized advantages over time. Imagine moving from reacting to headlines to calmly positioning for them, from fearing volatility to expecting it as the raw material of opportunity. That psychological shift, from avoidance to anticipation, is where the biggest edge lives. It is the difference between someone who hears about foreign exchange moves on the news and someone who quietly benefits from those moves while the rest of the market is distracted. Now let's translate mindset into mechanism without drowning in jargon. There are 4 practical pillars the most successful players rely on: visibility, options, timing, and structure. Visibility means knowing exactly where your money lives and what currency risks your assets carry: corporate revenues, bond coupons, real estate income streams, and measuring that exposure like you measure calories in a diet. Options means having tools that let you limit downside while preserving upside. Forwards, futures, options, and swaps are the plumbing of professional risk management. Timing is about reading longer arcs, central bank cycles, trade policy shifts, demographic growth in emerging markets, so you position earlier than the crowd. Structure means embedding currency thinking into how you hold assets: multi-currency accounts, segregated corporate entities, and legal, tax frameworks that let you move capital quickly and lawfully. Together, these pillars form a simple architecture. See your exposures, protect against catastrophic moves, create optionality to profit from volatility, and arrange your holdings so opportunities can be seized quickly. None of this requires a billionaire's bank account. It requires consistent, disciplined steps and the humility to manage risk first. Beyond mechanisms, remember the behavioral and logistical edges. The ultra-successful aren't always smarter. They are usually better organized. They build teams, automation, and processes that enforce discipline. Checklists for entry and exit, rules for how much of net worth sits exposed to any one currency, and contingency plans when markets stop behaving like they should. They harness advisors not to tell them what to do in the moment, but to design systems that work when pressure comes. They also cultivate patience. Many currency moves unfold over months or years. Treating currency management like a long game reduces noise-driven errors. Finally, leverage your own access points. If you travel, get a multi-currency account. If you own a business with international sales, require your finance team to report currency exposure every month. If you invest in funds, ask managers about their currency policy. Small, consistent actions compound. Scarcity of effort, doing a little, consistently, becomes abundance over time. That's the asymmetric secret. Tiny, disciplined habits create outsized financial resilience and optionality. So what concrete steps can you take right now to start thinking like someone who profits from currency flows, without pretending to be a trader? First, build awareness. Calculate the currency exposure across your portfolio and monthly cash flows. Second, learn the language. Read short primers on forwards, FX options, and the carry trade so you can talk with confidence to a banker or advisor. Third, start small and measurable. Open a multi-currency account. Convert a modest, fixed percentage of your liquid savings when you believe the trade-off is favorable, and treat it as a long-term experiment you will document and review. Fourth, create a one-page currency policy for yourself. Max exposure limits, triggers to hedge, and simple rules for when to add or trim positions. That policy protects your emotions and gives you permission to act when others panic. Above all, move from passive hope to active design. Hope that exchange rates work in your favor is weaker than a system that nudges outcomes toward your goals. If you apply these principles consistently, you'll gain what the wealthiest have: not magic, but structure, clarity, and options. If this conclusion made you hungry for the nuts and bolts, real case studies, specific instruments, and examples of simple rules you can adopt today, tell me and I'll prepare a follow-up that lays those out step by step in plain English. For now, if you found value in this lesson, hit subscribe to join Investor School so you don't miss the practical walkthrough coming next. Leave a comment with one currency you think will surprise markets in the next year and why. Remember, becoming comfortable with currency isn't about being right every time. It's about building a system that turns uncertainty into optionality. That shift alone will change how you measure, protect, and grow your wealth.